Hey everybody, how you doing? You know who I am. I'm Tony Viz. Here I am on my Raw video recap. This week's show I thought overall was it was decent. You know, the highlight of the show was obviously the end with Brock Lesnar breaking Shawn Michaels' arm. But going into this was for the go home show of for SummerSlam. It's, you know, you can definitely see that this was built as, you know, a one-match show, and that match, of course, being Triple H and Brock Lesnar. The other matches haven't really gotten as much focus as that has. There were, so as far as the show goes, I thought it was decent overall. They did, you know, like I said, they obviously did a great job there. There was a Big Show match that started the show that, of course, didn't have to finish. There was a tag match with Cena and Punk against Big Show and Daniel Bryan. There were 4 pointless matches, Christian Sandow solid match, and good contract signing with the Triple H Brock Lesnar segment, and then Brock Lesnar attacking Shawn Michaels and breaking his arm at the end of the show. And we had a weird Piper's Pit segment, followed by a really awesome triple threat match. So, with that out of the way, let's just get into this. The show began, actually, with CM Punk versus The Big Show. Daniel Bryan's music hit during the match. He came out, and, you know, doing the fans chanting yes, and he was doing the no bit. So then eventually, you know, Daniel Bryan gets a Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler's face at the announce table, saying he deserves to be in the main event at SummerSlam. And he got in the ring, and he went after CM Punk. So then, you know, that match was all right. You know, I mean, I knew there wasn't going to be a clean winner. You know, wasn't going to be a clean finish here. You know, since both Punk and Big Show are in the WWE title match. So then Daniel Bryan got in the ring. What happened was, what led to the DQ was that Daniel Bryan got in the ring and clotheslined CM Punk. You know, and then I think Big Show was on the outside or whatever. And then Punk was placed in the no lock by, you know, Daniel Bryan placed him in the no lock. And then Big Show came in, and I thought he was going to be pissed at Daniel Bryan for causing the match. Nope, as Daniel Bryan had the no lock on Punk, Big Show elbowed CM Punk in the back. Then, of course, Cena came out, and he just cleaned house on Big Show and Daniel Bryan by himself. Yeah, he clotheslined Big Show over the top, and he back body dropped Daniel Bryan out of the ring over the top also, and runs them off. Or, you know, and then AJ skips to the ring as Cena and Punk are facing off in the ring. You know, AJ skips to the ring. She says that Daniel still has anger management issues, and she said that he might have ruined this match, but he's going to make up for it later because Daniel Bryan will be teaming with Big Show to face Punk and Cena. That was really predictable. I mean, it was the. I mean, you know, like, at least it didn't start with a long-winded promo with one guy coming out and then the other guy coming out, and then everyone bitching to each other and everything. You know, but it was the usual. You know, okay, guys facing off or going at it in the ring, and then the GM comes out. It was the usual way that they start the show. You know, it was the usual. Okay, all these guys are pissed off at each other. GM's going to come out and make a match. Okay. Then we get backstage to JTG with Caitlyn. Now, I don't know if you remember either one of those two. JTG had a tweet rant lately, and I think they turned it into a storyline here because he said that, you know, him not having a 3-hour match on Raw is crazy, and of course AJ shows up, and she's flipping out again. So she asks him if he thinks she's not doing a good job as GM, and she tells him that if he wants to be on the show, he can go to the ring right now, she'll find an opponent for him. So then JTG walks off. And then AJ says to Caitlyn that she knows that they've had their differences, and she asks Caitlyn if she thinks she's unstable, that AJ's unstable. And Caitlyn says there are many words that describe AJ, but unstable isn't one of those words. I thought this was really a weak segment, you know, because, I mean, you know, it's like JTG, you know, and he tweeted and he ranted about, you know, not being on for a while, and he got on because of it. And I had a feeling they were going to turn that tweet rant into a storyline. But if they're going to have someone say the word crazy every week, and then AJ's going to just so happen to be right there or whatever, and then flip out and then punish the guy for it. That's going to get old real fast. So then we get JTG in a match, and it's feed me more, man, Ryback, and Ryback just squashes him. This was the first of 4 pointless matches, so pointless squash there. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know why the fans are actually really over, the feed me more chant is really over. The fans are really behind that. They chant feed me more, the whole arm bit and everything, and God knows why, but I don't know, the fans are really into it. Then they make a couple of announcements. First, they announced that we'll have a Piper's Pit segment later on in the show, and the fans get to decide who will be the guest host, or who will be the guest on the show on Piper's Pit, either Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, or Chris Jericho. And then they announced that Santino Marella will defend the U.S. title against Antonio Cesaro on the SummerSlam YouTube pre-show. Whoopity-doo. Then Roddy Piper's backstage saying he doesn't know who's going to be the guest on his own show. He says the fans are going to be picking who's going to be on it, and he's all confused. And then he asks the other guy in the room if he's picking. Then it turns to Shawn Michaels, and he's on the phone all worried and everything. And then Piper says, to Michaels that he'd be intimidated too if he had to deal with Brock. So then Michaels is on the phone asking whoever he's talking to where Triple H is, and he's saying that Triple H needs to be here because this is Triple H's. Shawn says this is Triple H's fight, not his. Okay. So segment. Then Heath Slater's in the ring, and he says everything is about to turn around, and then R-Truth comes in, and we get R-Truth and Heath Slater. Truth gets the pin. Another short, meaningless match. And they announced that Kofi Kingston wasn't there. I don't know why. So then after the match, the Primetime Players come out. They hit the ring. Truth fights him off, but they eventually get the upper hand. Then Darren picks Truth up, and then gives him the Titus O'Neil, and Titus gives R-Truth the Clash of the Titus. This was okay for what it was. The Primetime Players are kind of really, they're green. And they announced that Kofi Kingston and R-Truth will defend the tag titles against the Primetime Players at SummerSlam. I don't think anyone cares about that. Then we had Mark Henry giving a tout from London. I guess this was actually the best tout that they've had so far. This is the only one so far that hasn't been like, oh God, not another tout. This was actually all right. Then they recap everything what happened with Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio from last week, and then they go to a WWE.com exclusive interview with Booker T, and Booker T says that Alberto crossed the line and the SummerSlam World Title match is off. Now, why the hell they're taking Alberto Del Rio out of the title picture if it's not, for storyline reasons? I have no freaking idea. Because apparently on SmackDown tonight, they're going to do either a Beat the Clock challenge or whatever to see who'll be the new number one contender to face Sheamus at SummerSlam. It's going to be like Cody Rhodes, Sin Cara, and I don't even remember who the hell the third guy is. Oh, I think it's Randy Orton. So I don't know why in God's name they're taking Del Rio out if he's not injured or if he's not taking a 30-day vacation or layoff. So then they show Del Rio has a tout response. He says he has a contract for the title match and Booker can't just yank it off the pay-per-view. So and then they mention that the fans can tout whether they think Booker was right to yank the match off or not of SummerSlam. Who cares? This tout stuff is so stupid. Then we get to Sin Cara versus Tenzai. Another short and pointless match. Sin Cara got the win. And then afterwards, Tenzai just boggle bombs and senton splashes Sakamoto. I don't even know what the hell that guy's doing there. It's like, Tenzai, Albert, A-Train, whatever the hell you want to call him, Giant Bernard. He flattens this dude every time. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. Completely meaningless. So then we get to Shawn Michaels backstage again. He asks some production guy if he's seen him. The guy says he hasn't, and Michael says to let him know if he does see him. I'm guessing him being Triple H. Time for Piper's Pit. Piper and Jerry Lawler are in the ring. Piper then mentions it's like, Dolph has got money in the bank and saying Jericho can't win the big one anymore. Miz made a movie, and now fans get to pick who's on Piper's Pit. Piper says he's all confused, and then it's time to look at the chart to see who the fans voted for to be the guest host, and it's Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho comes out, and Piper says the last time he saw Jericho, Mickey Rourke punched his lights out. And Jericho says the last time he saw Piper, he was punching his lights out. Right before that happened, when he fought him and Ricky Steamboat and Jimmy Snuka in the 3-on-1 WrestleMania match. Then he thanks the fans for being on the Piper's Pit. And then Piper says that they both have something in common. Piper says that when he fought Mr. T years ago, the fans were cheering for him, and now the fans are cheering for Jericho since Dolph is saying he can't win the big one anymore. Piper says he doesn't care what Dolph or Miz have to say. All that matters is what the little kid in the red shirt in the crowd has to say matters. And they actually showed a little kid in the red shirt or whatever. It's like, this is what matters, this is what matters. And then Vicky Guerrero comes out, does the excuse me, while Piper's still saying, this is what matters. And then Vicky brings Dolph out. Dolph asks Piper how long he's been doing the same old bit. And he says, it's not fun, it's not groundbreaking or nostalgic, it's just sad. And you know what, I gotta actually agree, because Piper seemed like he didn't know what the hell was going on here. It was just like, the people matter, this, I don't know, he really seemed like he didn't have a clue what the hell was happening. So then Dolph says that this isn't about Piper. And he asks Jericho, how many comebacks will it take to realize that he can't win the big one anymore and he's lost his touch. And Dolph says that after SummerSlam, Jericho can hang up his lifeguard jacket next to Piper's kilt or whatever, because his career will be finished too. And Vicky chimes in. Jericho makes a comment about Dolph's hair, and then Vicky says some shit, and then Jericho tells her, shut the hell up here. And then Jericho says that he hasn't forgotten about Vicky slapping him on SmackDown. And he says that he'll beat Dolph at SummerSlam, and that's a guarantee that he'll never, ever go back on again, blah, blah, blah. Then Miz comes out doing the really bit, and I'm agreeing with him at this point, because really, this segment is so freaking all over the place. Miz says that Miz actually said that he and Dolph can actually win the big ones. Not so sure about Miz lately. Dolph has Money in the Bank. Miz won the WrestleMania main event at WrestleMania 27 last year, and 3 weeks ago beat Christian for the Intercontinental belt. Yeah, and he lost 2 non-title matches clean last week. So Miz says he's taking over the show. Piper's Pit. He says he's taking over the show. Dolph could be his guest, and he says Piper and Jericho can get the hell out of the ring. So then Piper just loses to Miz, and he tells him no, and then Jericho just tosses Miz out of the ring, and then he clotheslines Dolph out. And that was pretty much it. Like I said, this was a really weird segment. Piper sounded like he didn't know what the hell was going on. I guess he hasn't been following the product lately or whatever. I don't know what, because he just didn't seem to know what was happening. And like I said, Jericho and Dolph, the promos were good here. Like I said, the build to it is kind of, it's like they're each saying that they can't win, or whatever. So it's like Dolph is saying that Jericho can't win the big one. I mean, I don't really have as much of a problem with that, because it's the younger guy saying that to a guy who's been around for a while. But it's still, it's like, I don't know, they did kind of a really weird job in giving it the go-home hype. Miz saying he can win the big one, it was kind of like, really out there, since he hasn't really been winning anything lately. The guy's freaking Intercontinental Champion, and he lost to Kane last Monday on Raw non-title, and non-title he lost to Rey Mysterio on SmackDown. They also announced that, and it actually was not announced on the show, but I read it on PW Insider, which is a great site. I pulled that on, I'll plug them a lot. Miz will defend the Intercontinental Championship against Rey Mysterio at SummerSlam. So that Piper's Pit segment was weird. Then they go to a commercial break. Back from commercial, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, we get a triple threat match. Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz, following that weird Piper's Pit segment. This was actually a really good match. Dolph Ziggler won by pinning Jericho, but there were a lot of near falls, like false finishes and submissions and everything. Jericho. The end came when Jericho had Miz in the walls of Jericho, and Vicky Guerrero got up on the apron and distracted the referee. And Miz tapped out, but the ref was distracted with Vicky, so he missed it. Then Dolph came in and gave Jericho the zigzag, covered him. Ref turns around, 1, 2, 3, Dolph wins. So, by this point of the show, this was the highlight of it so far. And then we see CM Punk backstage, just stretching and warming up for his match later on. Then Eve shows up. She congratulates Punk on the new CM Punk. Punk says there's no new him. He's not wearing the black hat now. He's the same guy he's always been. He's been undefeated since he's been the champion. He's been champion since Survivor Series, and he says that he's fighting for the respect that he deserves. And Eve says that no one believes that, especially Cena. So then Punk says he'll go and tell Cena that himself. Then it was okay. It was not a bad segment backstage here. It was short, so I've noticed already, like all these segments, the shorter the better. Then they show Shawn Michaels walking backstage. John Cena comes by. Michaels is a little bit startled by that. He tells Cena he's distracted, and then Michaels walks off. And then Cena's standing there, and then Punk comes in, and Cena says, "Let me guess, you're gonna tell me to follow your lead again, right?" And then he asks Punk if he'll stab him in the. Cena asks Punk if he'll stab him in the back. Punk mentions that Cena's not that guy that Cena accused him of being last week. Punk says he's not going to stab anyone in the back or anything like that. He says he's not crazy. It's like he doesn't go for the idea of having to face Cena and the Big Show for the title in a triple threat match. But he's not going to stab anyone in the back about it. He's not going to bitch about it, even though he did bitch about it last week. Punk then did tell Cena that he'll do whatever he can in his power to make sure that either Cena or Big Show. He'll do everything he can to make sure that neither one of those guys walk out of the pay-per-view champion. And Punk says that at SummerSlam, it's going to be all about him. A decent backstage segment. Then we have another Wade Barrett video package hyping up his return. These have been really well done. I don't know. Hopefully, when he returns, they'll give him a decent push. Then we get to a Divas tag match. Layla and Kaitlyn versus Eve, Torres, and Beth Phoenix. Layla and Kaitlyn win when Kaitlyn gets the roll up on Beth, gets the pinfall 1, 2, 3. Wasn't much. This was another pointless match. Okay, less said about that, the better. Then they do a video package recapping the Triple H Brock Lesnar rivalry, blah blah blah. Okay. Then they show the parking garage. Triple H isn't there yet, so then Lawler's saying in commentary that he'll show up or whatever. So next we get tag match, Punk and Cena versus Daniel Bryan and Big Show. Punk and Cena win when Cena pins Daniel Bryan clean again for the second week in a row. The match was good there, like I said, as you guys know. I wasn't crazy about Cena pinning Danielson for the second week in a row clean. Punk and Cena had friction with each other, so did Show and Daniel Bryan. At one point in the match, it was like Show just got the apron and just sat at ringside. And then Punk, he just walked out. He stood by the ramp. He took the belt. And Cena, I think, was distracted by that. And Daniel got a roll up for a two count. And then Cena hit the AA 1, 2, 3. So it's like nothing beats Cena. It's like a distraction. It's like you can light him on fire or whatever. Not that that's happened, but it's like he could be in there on fire and he still can't be beat. It's like I don't know if the kryptonite can beat him. So then afterwards, Big Show slides back in the ring, and then Punk sees this, so he comes in and he hits Big Show with the belt. And then Punk offers his hand to John Cena, and Cena doesn't shake his hand, so Punk walks to the back. So the superhero here doesn't shake the guy's hand. Who looks like the heel here in that segment? Mr. You Can't See Me in my eyes. So then Josh Matthews asked Punk backstage if he has an explanation on what happened, and Punk said that Cena went into business for himself. He didn't care about winning or losing with the tag match here. And he mentions that Punk mentions that Cena not shaking his hand is a sign of disrespect. And then at SummerSlam, he'll teach Cena and everyone about respect. Good Punk promo there. And then we have Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman backstage. Just it's just chatted with each other before they go to contract signing. They didn't speak. They didn't have any on-camera words. Then we get to Christian versus Damien Sandow. Brodus Clay's music actually hit during the match. He came out, and that distracted Sandow. Christian got a roll-up on Sandow, near fall. Then Sandow hit the neckbreaker on Christian for the pinfall. So Sandow won the match. Solid match, and I had a feeling that Brodus was going to come out here, because they're going to be doing Brodus Clay versus Damien Sandow at SummerSlam. So then Shawn Michaels is walking backstage. He bumps into Brock, and Michaels is all like, the whole night he was just like, he was all like, nervous and paranoid and everything. And Brock just stared him down, and Michaels walked off. So it was just like, they made Michaels look like a real, I don't know, it's like they made him look a bit of a puss here tonight. I thought, it was just like he was just like, I don't know, this is Hunter's fault, it's not my word. I don't know, it was whatever. So then Brock and Paul Heyman come out for the contract signing. Heyman says that he stands before everyone as Brock's advocate with great humility, and he says that Hunter had a flight delay or whatever, and Lesnar believes the story because no one wants this match more than Triple H does. Heyman says that Triple H needs this match because it's the most personal fight of Triple H's career. He says that Triple H's dignity is on the line, and he'll be facing a fighter. He'll be facing Brock Lesnar, who is a fighter with ultimate credentials. And then he just acknowledges the fans and he thanks them for their irrelevant opinion, and he's holding some kind of document saying that they won't be responsible for what happens to Triple H at SummerSlam. And Heyman says that this isn't going to be a match to see who the better man is. It won't be a wrestling match. This is just going to be Brock Lesnar giving Triple H a merciless beating. And Heyman says that Shawn Michaels didn't take Heyman's word for it or whatever. Heyman says if he asked Brock, is Shawn Michaels in the arena? Brock was like, yeah, he's here. And then Heyman says that if Michaels still thinks that Triple H can beat Brock Lesnar, he's welcome to come out and tell him. And he says, Shawn Michaels has got a yellow streak running down his back, just like the whole state of Texas. And then Shawn Michaels' music hits. He comes out. Actually, before that happened, Heyman said that Michaels isn't coming out, and he doesn't blame Michaels because he said there's no shame in being afraid of Brock Lesnar. And then he did the whole, Texas has got the yellow streak, and then Shawn Michaels' music hit. He came out, and Michaels was standing there. He picked up the mic. He didn't say anything, and Heyman said he'll accept Shawn Michaels' signature on the contract. So then Shawn looks at Brock and Heyman, and the fans start chanting, "Let's go Texas." Then Triple H's Motorhead music hits. He comes out. Triple H and Brock just intently stare at each other, and then Hunter just goes to the signing page and he looks up and he signs the contract as he looks at as he keeps looking up at Brock. And then before Brock signs the contract, look like I guess he was going to go after Triple H or whatever. And then Heyman tells Brock, hey, "This is just the contract signing." So then Brock signs the contract too, and then Brock and Heyman walk out of the ring. And then Brock just taunts Triple H as he goes up the ramp. And then Triple H and Michaels were like, "What are we going to do?" I thought this was good, What was good about it, Heyman was great with the mic as usual. And I actually liked that he was the only one to actually speak, besides Brock Lesnar saying that Shawn Michaels was in the building. I liked that this contract segment wasn't the typical back and forth banter followed by a brawl breaking out, like all other contract segments usually wind up turning into. So I like that they didn't go with that particular route. Then they had stupid touts from fans about the Booker T calling off the Sheamus Del Rio match. Some fans were saying they agree with Booker, others were saying that Del Rio should get the match. Who gives a rat's ass? So then Shawn Michaels and Triple H are backstage. Michaels tells Triple H that he's got something to get off of his chest. Michaels says he's been in the ring with some of the toughest guys like Triple H and The Undertaker. He says that Brock Lesnar is on another level. Triple H asks if Shawn Michaels thinks that Triple H himself can't beat Lesnar. Michaels says he'll be in Triple H's corner, but Triple H has got to beat him on his own or whatever. And Triple H was like, "I got this guy," whatever, And then Michaels was like, "I hope you got it. You're on your own, blah blah blah," and he walks off. So then backstage, Big Show's walking backstage. Matt Striker bumps into him. He says, he asks him after what happened earlier on, how the match will be affected SummerSlam. Big Show pretty much says that nothing is affected. Punk took a cheap shot, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. And then as that's going on, we hear a horn honking, and it's Shawn Michaels honking at Paul Heyman. And this was all just a setup for Brock to get at Shawn Michaels. And he yanks Shawn Michaels out the car door window, and then they bump into the camera. The screen goes to black as Brock is supposedly attacks Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels is going and then we go to commercial. I thought this was really good. I actually like that they had the screen go to black, so that you couldn't actually see Shawn Michaels getting attacked. Since it was a way of him, or Lesnar beating him down or whatever, without actually probably not really doing anything since the screen went to black. So I actually like that. I thought that was a good touch there. So then we get back to the show, and then you've got AJ referees and other enhancement talent wrestlers are at the side of the attack. Shawn Michaels' windshield is shattered, and then AJ's there, and Triple H comes in and says, "What happened?" He asks AJ where Shawn Michaels is. AJ says that Brock and Heyman took him. So then Brock comes to the ring carrying Shawn Michaels on his shoulders. He throws Shawn Michaels in the ring. Michaels' shirt is all torn up. Then Lesnar picks Michaels up, and he F5s him. And then Michaels tries to get up. He's struggling to get up, and then Lesnar locks on the Kimura arm breaker and supposedly breaks Michaels' arm. Then Triple H runs out, but then Heyman, before Triple H can get in the ring, Heyman tells him, "Hey, wait, stop right there." It's like he tells Triple H that if he takes one more step, Lesnar will break Shawn Michaels' arm. And Hunter's all standing right at the ramp, all talking about what to do, and then Lesnar breaks Shawn Michaels' arm, and then Hunter hits the ring, and then Brock runs off. So then Michaels lays on the mat, selling the arm injury, telling the medics not to touch him. He's like, and then Brock and Heyman come back out on the stage and watch, and Triple H rips his shirt off, and he was like telling Brock, "We don't have to worry, we can do this right now." And then Brock was standing on the stage with a smirk. And that was the end of the show. I thought they did a really good job here too. Like I said, they did a great job building to the only match that matters on this pay-per-view. And Michaels did a great job too at selling the broken arm. So this was the best part of the show. This and the triple threat match. So that was it. So that was your show. I mean, overall, as a go-home show built for SummerSlam. I thought they did a good job with the match. It's obviously going to be headlining Triple H and Brock Lesnar. I thought they did an awesome job with that. The WWE title match, they kind of did they did a decent to solid job with that. The tag match was all right. The opening segment, of course, was predictable. Then Punk and Show starting at the start of the show. I knew it was going to be a clean finish. And of course, Cena was going to come out. I knew, Daniel Bryan coming out, not surprising. Cena coming out, even less of a surprise. And AJ coming out announcing a tag match, predictable as hell. So, but that tag match was good, and I wasn't surprised that they booked it where the two teams had friction, each guy had friction with the partner and everything. And like I said, Daniel Bryan getting pinned but cleaned by Cena for the second week in a row, I hated that. And then, Christian and Sandow was a solid match. Ryback, JTG, Sin Cara, Tenzai, R-Truth, Heath Slater, and the Divas tag match were all short and pointless. I don't know what the hell they were doing on the show. Like I said, the Piper's Pit segment was really weird. Piper looked like he hasn't been following the product. He didn't know what in the hell was going on. But the triple threat match to follow that up was really good. So, and of course the stuff backstage, with Brock attacking Shawn Michaels when the screen went to black and everything. That was good, and of course the end was good too. So that was pretty much your show. So that'll do it for me right now. I'll be back on Friday with my Impact recap, and hopefully on my SmackDown too. So that'll do it for me right now. So till Friday, with hopefully what will be my Friday doubleheader. This is Tony Visitone signing off right now. Thanks for watching. And of course, you can check out TonyViz.blogspot.com, read my in-depth recap of Raw, add me to contact on Facebook. You can leave me some feedback. You can watch some of my older videos too if you want. And you can continue sharing videos with me and everything. Thanks to you for those of you who have. I really appreciate that. And that will do it for me right now. So till Friday, this is Tony Visitone. This has been your Raw recap for this week. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care, everybody.